Thanks.
Yeah.
So official.
Never seen it before.
Yeah, I know. It's weird how it does it loud. Awesome, guys. Welcome to our real talk for today. We are talking. Oh, I'm just going to get someone to go on mute because.
Was it me?
No. Oh, everyone's unmuted, actually. I must have said that wrong. Anyway. Reset. So welcome to the talk today. Great to have you guys here. We're doing this series just as a way to boost confidence with Reels. We all know how important video marketing is, and it isn't going away anytime soon. So it's just nice to be able to build that relationship and show your face and actually have a conversation with people. So that's why I thought it would be really important to invite some experts along and share some of their insights and let us have a play around and also take the pressure off it, make it fun and make it something that we can explore together, because I think we as humans tend to lean towards perfectionism and fear and being seen and all of this stuff. So it's nice to just give it a go and just try it, because we're always going to look back and hate what we've done at some point in our life, but you've just got to get in there and do it. So that's what these are all about. So today we have the wonderful Nat Welfare here. She is a collaborative marketing and social media video specialist. Her background is in psychology and social work, and she's a bit of a nerd when it comes to human nature. And that sort of sits at the core of everything she does, which is awesome. And now she helps small business owners market their businesses in a way that feels good by leveraging the power of community and connection through collaboration and social videos, which is so cool. I love the idea of using video and collaboration as a tool to connect. So over to you, Nat.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. We were just talking before we got on, and we were just saying it's a bit of a strange week. I know for me, because I'm in lockdown with everyone else in Melbourne, and I think the vibe's a bit all over the place, but I just thought we'll make this session like super chill. I don't have like slides or anything like that, and just as fun as we can. So as Hayley said, yeah, I do social media, but specializing mostly in video. So I mostly work with small businesses, and this all kind of came about because I accidentally used video to kind of kickstart my own business and become known in the sort of small business realm in Australia. So that's actually how it started for me. It wasn't a plan to get into video specifically. So since then, I've actually sort of segued into teaching other businesses and business owners and personal brands how to use video to really fuel business growth, because it genuinely does work. And I know it's a bit of a topic that people want to just sort of freak out about, but it is really powerful. And I think the good news is that the less perfect you are on social media and in video, the better the results will be. So there's the good news. So today, because I spoke to Hayley about who was going to be in this and who most of the membership is made up of, and she said service businesses was the primary kind of cohort, I thought we'll focus on something that's really probably going to be the most specific to you guys. Sorry if my glasses are really reflecting off that light. I might just move that. And we'll talk about something that will help you optimize talking videos. At some point, most people will end up doing them. It's going to be the main way that we sort of impart information on socials sort of into the future. So now's a good time to learn how to optimize and a couple of tricks. So what I want to talk about today is we initially talked about, should we do like transitions? Should we do like funky effects and stuff like that? But I actually I just don't think that's the best strategic move for service-based businesses, to worry about trends that are always changing and things like that. There's something I think that's more important for service businesses on video that I think will actually help move the needle and get people to stay engaged with you. And for me, this is what I found, it's visual cues on your talking videos. So as you're scrolling through your feed, we've got so much stuff coming up all the time. What I have found works for me is the more I use really clear, visual cues, whether it's text, images, GIFs, my backdrop, things like that, these have really helped to increase the watch time and the engagement and even the like interactions with people on my videos. And that's something that I want to talk to you about today. And we're just going to keep it really simple and look at sort of like one particular tip on that. If you have any questions, just drop it in the chat as we go. I will try and keep an eye on that as well. But I'll just talk away as we go. So the first thing to do with Reels that is different from TikTok that I don't think many people realize when they're trying to sort of leverage what people do on TikTok and bring it over to Instagram is that up to 70% of people are actually watching Reels on silent. Instagram doesn't automatically put your feed on like loud volume or on volume. So when people are using audio-based trends and things like that to create videos and like, yep, I'm going to jump on all these trends, like this audio is trending at the moment. They're creating these videos that are audio based, but the reality is up to 70% of people aren't even hearing the audio and the whole point is getting lost. So that's one big reason why the visual elements of your videos are so important. And the other one is that most people are visual learners as it is. So, you know, for a service-based business, the most likely things that you're going to be creating content about is like educational, informative things. You're trying to impart some information or some inspiration. So you need some sort of ability for people to learn that information really quickly online. So, you know, you can't sit there and talk for 10 minutes on Instagram anymore. People just won't really pay attention. So we want to be able to get that information in as fast as possible. And the research shows that something like, I think it's, if you have visual cues, people can absorb that 60,000 times faster than just listening or reading text. So big one to have something so simple as just like text and graphics on your videos. So what I wanted everyone to do, if they haven't got it already, is to download the InShot app. So InShot. And that's what I use to pretty much edit all my video content from like Reels through to like course content. I do it all on my phone. It's super easy to use. If there's anyone who doesn't have it or isn't going to get it today, that's totally fine. You can just watch along. I'm going to share my screen anyway. But what I wanted to do, what I did just like 2 seconds before we started, awesome, thanks Alice, is I just filmed a really quick video as if I was making a Reels about tips for optimizing your talking videos. And I've made 2 versions and I want you to have a look at both versions and we'll talk about them afterwards. So I'm going to share my phone screen. So just bear with me for 1 second. If anyone can't see this for any reason, let me know in the chat, but we've just tested it, it should be fine. There is no sound. So I wanted to test with you guys what it looks like for someone when they're looking at their feed and they've got their phone on mute, which is 70% of people are going to see your video for the first time on mute. What kind of video captures your attention the fastest? And what kind of video is going to make you take more an action from that video? So let's play video 1 and see how we go. 1 sec, let me get back into my phone. So there's no sound, there's not meant to be any sound. So that's video 1. That's such a common thing to see on your feed. I'm sure all of you have scrolled through and you're like, this person's talking, I have no idea what they're saying. The likelihood that you're going to take an action from that is so low. You're not like the likelihood that you're going to press the sound on or go into the video to actually hear what that person is saying without having any context whatsoever is next to 0. So then, hang on, I can't see the chat. So if anyone's typing in there, hold on a second. I can't move my screen out of the way. Yeah, I never, exactly. Like captions, so important for stories. Unfortunately, Reels don't have auto captions, so that's not something I've covered today, but hoping they bring those out soon. So let me find video 2. And we'll play that now. Okay, so this is video 2. Same video, no sound. Oops. So of those 2 videos, like which one would you have actually learned something from? It would be obviously the second one. Like the ability to transfer information so quickly through visuals, yeah, is so important for those talking videos where you're trying to get someone to really quickly pay attention to what you're doing. And you're also like competing with everything else that's happening online. It's I'm obsessed with the visuals of making videos. So this is really like where I geek out and I'm just like, oh my God, look at this. So we'll jump straight into, if anyone has any questions on that side of things and like the strategy side of it, drop them in now, but I'm going to jump straight into the demo of exactly like how I created that on InShot and how you can find and use GIFs to use in your own videos if no one's sort of got any main questions around that. But if you do, just chuck them in the chat as we go as well. So I'm just going to open my InShot and then I'm going to share my screen again. Now the sound is on in InShot, but we've just sort of realized it's not great anyway. So I'm probably just going to turn it off and we'll just keep them on silent as I'm editing because you can't really hear it. So, okay, where's my screen? So the 2 things that I'm going to show you how to do with this is, well, actually 3. So the first thing that I always suggest doing is having a text title, which you would have seen on that second video. So I'll really quickly show you how to do that. But the main 2 things that I want to show you that I think are super cool and kind of unique, like you don't really see that many people doing it, is using animated GIF stickers in your stories. And you can do this a couple of different ways, which I will show you right now. But really quickly, I'll just show you the text function and like how I create just a really simple text heading just to introduce the topic of every video, which just allows people to really quickly be like, is this relevant to me or is it not? So the text button is just the T down in that little menu bar, and then you just go text again. So what was it? 3 tips to nail. And then you can just like, we'll move those 2 down. So this has got my custom fonts in it, and I just use the same styling each time, which I'll just quickly show you how to do. So if you go to the color wheel, you've got a couple of different options along the top. You've got text, border, shadow, etc. So what I've got here is my text is just black, but I could change the color anywhere here, or you can use the little color dropper on your video. And then I've also got a label, which is actually just the background. So you've got a few different shapes down the bottom that you can choose from there. I tend to go for the round edge and I keep mine white just because it's like the most contrast to what's on the screen and the easiest for people to see. So, you know, from that psychological point of view, I guess, which is always what I end up thinking about is like what actually works data-wise, just the most contrast that you can get for your visuals against the backdrop is always going to be the most eye-catching. So I always stick with really light backgrounds and dark text ideally, unless the background is the opposite. So then you've got this A, like the big A and the little a, and that's where you can change your fonts. And if you use the import button, you can actually bring in your own fonts from your phone files. So I just airdrop them, I download them from Google or wherever I download it from, airdrop them to my phone, and then I import them like that. So really, really easy. It just brings up all the ones that I have airdropped previously. So I try to keep my, especially my intros, kind of on brand for me as much as possible and really consistent, because that makes them really recognizable. And I think one feedback that I've received from a lot of people is that my videos are very recognizable And I think it's because I really aim to keep them quite similar in the style that I do them. And that's, you know, both the style of actually filming and editing, but also the actual visual elements that are on there are always pretty similar. So that's just a really quick and simple way of doing the text heading. You can also animate the entrance of that as well. So if you go to the little pencil button, and again, don't stress if you're not keeping up with each thing, you'll get the recording, so you can always come back to it. And if you go to these little moving 3 circles here, it actually gives you some options of how you can bring that text in onto the screen. So I often just use the fade one and just slow it down a little bit. And then if you watch that back, it just sort of slowly fades in and then fades out again. Just a little bit cool. Something a bit unique, and that like uniqueness alone helps people to be like, oh, that's interesting. I haven't seen that before. But the cool, fun stuff is really for me around actually using like GIFs and stickers and like graphics and things like that that are pictures really. So you're kind of creating more of a picture book around what you're trying to tell people rather than just relying on your voice. And that really helps, I've found, people to stay engaged throughout the video as opposed to dropping off really quickly because, you know, attention spans are very short at the moment. Which is totally fine. And the reason that I started doing this is because I saw other people were doing this. Originally, it started on YouTube, and then I saw people were starting to do it elsewhere, and I was like, wow, that really works. It's so simple, but the fact that they've just put a couple of GIFs in there, like I'm weirdly watching this video that has no relevance to me sort of thing. So it's such a good way of capturing attention. So to add GIF stickers like the ones that I had before, so I've got the little lips here and the numbers and things like that, what you do is you go to the little smiley face, which is the sticker button, and then you press sticker again, and then it actually connects straight to Giphy, which is pretty cool. So you've got the option of like big GIFs like these, so you can use them as full sort of scenes if you wanted to. Let's go Jennifer Coolidge for a second. You could bring that whole like sort of meme onto a blank page if you wanted to, just to sort of make a point. So those sorts of meme style things, but just for the little stickery images, which is mostly what I use, it just opens straight up, like similar to what you would find on Instagram stories. So you can type in the exact same sort of things. Like before I just typed in talking, I think, and just you can scroll through and find something that's relevant, click on it, bring it into the screen, and there it is as like a little moving image there. So that is super cool. I actually only realized that Giphy connected to InShot fairly recently, and I was like, oh, this is truly a game changer. So you can resize those, like you can mirror them with the little 2 arrows that face inwards. You can press down on the double-ended arrow to make it bigger and smaller, and also to rotate it. If you want multiples, like I had a couple of them, what you do is you just have that little bubble highlighted, and then you just press the copy button, and then you've got another one directly on top of it, so you can just duplicate it as many times as you want and move it around. The other thing you can do if you go down to the timeline where you can see both of those bubbles is you can then move them around on the timeline as well. So if I want one to turn up a little bit later, I've just moved that bubble. So if you watch now, it will turn up a little bit later. You can also use the split button up the top there just to cut it down if you want to and delete bits. All the sort of things that you add into InShot can be edited in the same way like that. So really, really, really easy. Now, the other cool thing is that InShot has their own sticker bundles as well. So that's these things across the top here. Some of them are animated, some of them aren't. For example, at the beginning, when I had the text heading come up, I used this bundle here, and I used these ones, which I often use. Let me just get rid of these for a sec. So I'm going to highlight this one and move it on top of that text so it shows up at the same time. So I often use these one particularly around headings and things, little lines that move, because it really helps draw people's eyes to the thing that you want them to see first, which for me is the heading. So I tend to use those around headings and things, which you'll see on my stories and everywhere else, I tend to have something right next to the first thing I want you to look at, and it'll be moving or flashing. So let's just go back to that. So that's sort of how I did that thing. Super easy, nothing strenuous there. The next cool thing that I wanted to show you is, for example, at the very end of that second video, I've obviously got, that's a custom graphic. Like, that's not something you're going to find on Giphy because it's my brand. So a lot of the time I create my own animated stickers and graphics and things like that, because again, it just ups the ante on the uniqueness of what I'm showing people, which is really captivating, and has been one of the things that people have commented the most to me is like, oh, like I didn't know you could do that, or like your videos are so fun to watch, because they're not watching the same thing they've watched 450 times somewhere else earlier. So creating your own graphics with particularly your brand elements, like your logo or your face or whatever it is a really, really good option. And because I am that obsessed with GIF stickers and animations, I did co-create an app, which is called Wibble. And this is it here. Sorry, I'm in the admin version, so you can see all the behind the scenesy stuff. But this is an app that you can get if you have an iPhone. At the moment, it's not available on Android, but it is on iPhone. Super, super easy to make your own GIF stickers, and I use it all the time, but I'll show you exactly how I made the one where I had my Instagram handle at the end. So again, you can watch this back later. Don't stress if it doesn't sink in just yet. But all I did was I just started a new project. I went to the elements star button down the bottom. Then I went to objects, and I went to shapes up the top. Scroll down, and then I brought in this kind of like chunky rectangle here, which I then just increased in size a little bit. I changed the color of that to my brand colors. You can bring in custom colors and fonts also into Wibble as well. So I just use my yellow, and then down the bottom here, I used the shadow tool and just created a bit of a shadow there. I went to the color, I made that pink, so it's all completely on brand with my color palette. And then I just sort of made that as big as I could. Then I went back to the main homepage. I used text and I put my Instagram handle in there. And then I went down to this A, underlined A, which is fonts. Again, I can add my custom fonts in here, but it's also got a bunch of cool ones if you don't have custom fonts. And I picked one of them, which is this one. Just increased the size. I was happy with it staying black because that is one of my brand colors, but again, you can change the text color if you wanted to. There's a white somewhere, so maybe white would have been the next option, but I think black stood out the most. Just increase that a little bit. And then to animate this, what I did was I wanted it all to animate together. So the text and the shape behind it as if it was like one big button. So what I did was I highlighted the rectangle, and then just underneath the canvas, you'll see the word primary with a little toggle. So I'm just going to turn that on. What that means is that that background shape is now the primary mover. So everything anchors to it when it gets animated, which is pretty cool. And then down the bottom here, now we're in the animation options, and you've got like a whole bunch of categories of what you can do. So I just used the zoom, one of the zoom ones, which there's heaps of different options. Like I'll just show you a couple. You do this, you can do some more like subtle ones, or that's like an entry kind of one. But I just went with, I think like this one, which is a bit of a heartbeat. So that's what it looks like. Really simple, done. That's all I did. Then I just used the export button, saved it to my camera roll. Done. You can also, if you're using it on stories, you can actually use this copy for Instagram stories button. And then when you open and start a new story, you can immediately paste it in there. So that's bloody genius, quite frankly. So then you go back to your story, and then it was sort of at the end here, I wanted to add that in. So again, using the sticker button, this is how you add in any kind of image or like sticker or anything like that. Using the sticker button, okay, gotta get out of those ones. Go back to the start, and you've got that little image template one, which takes you to your camera roll. Press on that. And then I just bring it straight in from my camera roll like so. And there it is. So again, I can just like move that around to different parts on the timeline. I can increase the size or decrease the size. I can like, whatever you want to do, you can move it around as much as you want to. So we'll just see. And that's just another really simple tool to use to create like super custom on brand graphics if you really want to go hardcore with your animations. I'll just stop sharing there for a second. Any questions on like any of that sort of thing? I know that is like a huge amount to try and take in 20 minutes. So the filter, oh yeah, so Velvet, good question. The filter that I use, I was actually filming that. So this is another thing that I actually do that's probably a good hack for people who are creating reels. If you're going to do talking reels, I often film them in my stories function, and then I save the videos from there. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, let me just really quickly share again, and I can just show you. Let's get into, okay, here we go. So now I'm in my stories. So let's just say I put a filter on. If you want your videos to look a little bit nicer, and then I would just like film this, blah, 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 and then go to the top there and just use that save. Well, that was probably really loud. And then I just use that save button, which then sends it straight to my camera roll. And then I imported those into InShot. So if you're having a bit of a no makeup kind of like tired day, I often do that just to get the filter and then straight into InShot from there. I didn't get a weird glitch thing because when you save them, it's not like it's trying to play those stories next to each other. That's just a story thing. Like once it's on the story, that's when you get that weird glitch thing. But if you download them, you don't. And another thing that I do is when I'm filming talking videos is I tend to leave like 1 second either side of me talking. Try not to like, when you record, you don't actually want to talk straight away. You want to leave just a tiny little gap. And that just allows you to edit things together and chop off that first bit where it's often like just a bit of dead noise and weird stuff going on. So that's how I film a lot of them in order to get like a really like just short, sharp video. And then I add everything in InShot from there. So any other questions on images or graphics? Another place that I make graphics to bring in is Canva, and then just download them as a transparent PNG. So if you're wanting to do still sort of like still graphics or infographics or anything like that, you can do that on Canva as well. And I also just bring things in from my own camera roll, like screenshots and all that kind of thing through that same sticker button, and use those there. I think that's pretty much all I had for that. But one thing I did want to tell you guys is that I am going to be launching a Nail Your Talking Videos short course soon, which will be about 60 to 90 minutes long. So if you are really looking to get into talking videos and really learn how to film them, what equipment to use, like how to edit them, and partly what we've talked about today, like optimizing them through visuals and audio and like using music and stuff like that, that's a really good one to jump on. It's affordable because I've just done like a really short one specific for the talking video, so at a lower cost than the bigger kind of big courses that I would run later on in the year, maybe, depending on COVID. So yeah, that's pretty much it from me. If anyone's got any questions, feel free to jump in. It doesn't have to be about the visuals or anything as well. Like if you've got any other sort of questions about doing talking videos or any kind of videos, feel free to hit me up. And you can also find me on Instagram as well and DM me there. Anything else, Hayley, that you think I've missed?
Thank you, darling. No, that was really good. I love just like playing along. I've made the ugliest video ever, but I've stuck some photos and some moving things on it, so I'm happy. Yeah. But no, that was really great. So practical and yeah, really helpful, babe. So I've dropped everyone. I've dropped Nat's Instagram there. if you want to follow her, and the app that she developed called Wibble, which is really fun as well. I also use that. So yeah, follow along. And if you do want to keep in touch with Nat, you can sign up to her email list, and I'll drop that in now. And then you'll know when her courses are coming out, and you'll get loads of cool free video strategy tips as well. So
the email gang, I do like really in-depth stuff, and I do talk about a lot of like personal case studies. Like I do a lot of experiments on my own social media or my clients' stuff, and I share a lot of that in my email gang. So that's a really high value place to be. I don't just try and say stuff in there. It's really that's where my community sort of gets the most insightful stuff from me. So definitely worth jumping on. But I'll just quickly answer.
I was just going to say, if anyone needs to go, you guys can go, because I know we said half an hour, but if you want to stay and ask questions, totally stay.
Go for it.
You've got a few more minutes, right?
Yeah. So cool. Velvet's question, can you talk about what kind of videos you make for other people? What works when you're not actually the person behind the business? I don't think the difference is there is no difference. I make a bunch of different videos. So I edit down other people's videos for them. So say if they've filmed talking videos, I'll edit those down for them. So if they want me to edit the original, or maybe they've got a big video, I'll pull out like little value snippets for them and create basically the kind of video I just showed you, like a short snippet. I also do like beauty videos and demos and product demos and stuff like that for other people. And I honestly don't think there's any difference. The same things work. And I think the more you just are transparent about sort of like being a person, showing someone something, the better those things perform, rather than trying to like overthink what you're doing and why you're doing it. And making it a bit too produced. So if you're not actually the person behind the biz, you kind of have a couple of options. You're either editing like videos of that person, or you can be somebody else making videos for them. A lot of service businesses do this, or a lot of SaaS businesses. So they're a software. They get like their content creators or their marketing people to create talking videos for them. And they're like, yeah, I'm part of the team. Like there's so many ways to do it. Like you don't even have to be in all of the videos either. Obviously today we've talked about talking videos, but not all videos have to have talking. They can be fully graphics if you wanted to. Like really, there's so many options. I don't know if that answered your question, Velvet. Yeah, the memory problem, Alice, is a common one, and I fully had to delete about 75 videos off my phone just to even save that one that I showed you. I do use like a full-on old school hard drive for big videos because I'm terrified of losing them. So I do upload a lot of things onto my computer and then put it onto a hard drive. There's really no, like that is the problem that I hope somebody solves, because there's really not that many ways around it. You can obviously like increase your iCloud and things like that, but it's all much for muchness. Like I do use WeBoard, which is part of WeTransfer, to house a lot of my videos. So I can put I think it's, if you sign up for WeTransfer.com, that's a way of sending files to people, but they also have what is called WeBoards, and you can save different like for example, I use a different WeBoard for every client, and then I save their videos in there. So huge amount of memory and really low cost. What else? I'm just trying to see if there's any. Okay, so that looks like all the sort of questions, I think. I'm trying to think if there's any other tips on like actually the practicalities, but that's pretty much what I do. If you have any other questions, like to be fair, like a lot of my videos still live on InShot as well. However, if you delete the original videos from your camera roll, you can't export them again. So one thing to just keep in mind is to download from InShot before you delete the originals off your camera roll. Awesome.
Such a good tip. So annoying when you delete stuff.
I've done it so many times, and it is that is a truly
Amazing.
painful experience.
Awesome, babe. Thank you so much. That was so useful. And I'm sure we'll be having lots of great reel creations in the world. Don't forget to tag me and tag Nat if you guys do use some of the tips from today. It's always fun to see what you guys create. And yeah, just have fun with it. Just give it a go. You know, I think that's the thing now. You've just got to begin and jump into the river and see what happens down the way.
Yeah.
And start creating. But thank you, Nat. Amazing.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys.
Today.
Thanks for having me. Really brightened my day.
Oh, good. Yeah.
Bye, guys.
You're in your element, girl.
Thank you.
I love it. See you guys. Thank you.
See ya.